So welcome everyone to midweek meditation, and I'm sure we'll get a few more people. I'm Wendy, although everybody that I can see who's live in the Zoom, I know, and they know me. At least I think. I'm trying to see who's off in the corner. There's Judy coming in. Okay. And so we know that we're streaming and we know that it's being recorded. So welcome to everyone, wherever you are, whenever you watch this. I am in Redwood City, California, and I like to honor that I'm on ancestral Ramaytush Ohlone land. And just to get it out of the way, and I'll say it again, there's going to be no meditation in 3 weeks because I personally am going to be on a silent meditation retreat, and I've committed to being off all electronics except when I'm on Zoom for my silent meditation retreat. So in 3 weeks, on the 17th of March, there will be no midweek meditation. You can meditate with yourself, but I won't be leading it here. Okay. And I'll try to remember to say that again at the end for anybody that comes in late, and to say it for the next couple of weeks. Is that right? The next 2 weeks. And then it's the third week after that. So this week, the theme is humility. In Hebrew, it's Anavah. And I'm going to do a meditation after I talk a little bit about that. I'm going to do a meditation which is a hybrid meditation. And that means I'm going to start with a little bit of candle meditation, and then I'm going to move into a little bit of breath meditation, and then I'm going to move into a little bit of insight meditation. So that's just what came to me to do. And as always, and I will mention this again, if you want to stay with the candle meditation, you can stay with a candle meditation. If you want to stay with a breath meditation, you can do that. Or you can be on the journey with me. And the reason that I came up with focusing on the theme of humility is as I was looking at this week's Torah portion, which is called Tetzaveh, and Tetzaveh means you will instruct. And it is Yud He Vav He, the ground of being that many name God. It's God saying to Moses, although Moses is not named anywhere in the whole portion, instruct the people, instruct the Israelites. And it's a continuation of last week's portion. Last week's portion was creating the Mishkan, the holy dwelling place for the Shekhinah, for the spirit of the divine, so that the divine could live among and in and through the people. And this is a continuation of that. And it looks at the priests, who were the intercessors between the intensity of the divine and the people. So the Israelites wanted intercessors. They did not want to have that direct connection with the divine. They had a taste of it a few portions back, and they said, no, thank you. That's too intense. That's too much. You tell us what the divine wants. And so we also have the description of the inside of the sanctuary. So the first description was the tents and the poles and everything that you do around. And now we're getting into the inner workings. And the very first mention of the inner workings of this sanctuary, this Mishkan, this indwelling place of the sacred and the divine, is an oil lamp, making instructions that you will make some pure oil, olive oil, to burn in this lamp. And the lamp is called Ner Tamid. And in Judaism, many people are familiar with in the sanctuary, in the place, if there's a building that is only used for Jewish prayer and ritual, there is an ark where the Torah scrolls are held. And in front of that is some kind of lamp. And that lamp is always on. And it's called the Ner Tamid. And so it's symbolizing back here, back in the Mishkan, it's symbolizing, and there are interpretations of, does Ner Tamid mean what I was always told it meant, an everlasting, continuously lasting light, or another way that it can be translated and interpreted is a continually replenished. So every day you need to light this lamp. So they're both wonderful concepts of something that is always there and something that we need to keep attending to. I like to think of it as both and. It's both the everlasting continuous process of the divine spirit that we hope and we want to attune ourselves to. And it's also something that we have to keep rekindling all the time, or it will go out, or it does go out. And so we need to rekindle it. So they're both lovely concepts. Why not have both? And as I was looking at this, I was thinking back to the current congregation that I'm a part of at Time in Palo Alto. And we have a lovely um, near Tamid. And I've been in the building a few times where I've either been the service leader for the weekend or an ONIG host, and I'm the last one. I haven't been in the building for over a year, but I'm the last one in the building, turning off the lights. And you turn off every light, and then there's this lamp that you don't turn off, and it can't be turned off. And it has this wonderful feeling about something that's there, that divineness, that light that is always there. I'm even getting a little teary as I say this. And so just that this that's in this week's Torah portion, um the sense of the divine presence that's there even when we turn the lights off, the divine presence that's there even when we're not paying attention and we're not awake. And it's comforting, and it also reminds us things go on, things go off, things change. There's a vaccine, there's not a vaccine, there's a pandemic, there's not a pandemic, there's joy, there's not joy. But there are also things that are constant, and we have both in our lives. Again, another both and. um, the other thing that gets mentioned in this portion is what the priests will wear, and especially what the high priest Aaron, the brother of Moses, will wear. And again, he is the intercessory person, the person to bring the people, to bring the community to that elevated place to feel the divine presence. And he is the one to go into that maybe frightening intensity of the divine and bring that back to the people. So he is this conduit, and he serves the people as well as doing service for the divine. And when it talks about what he is supposed to wear, it talks about this breastplate that he wears. So it's right over his chest, right over his heart, right over his lungs, the kind of the vitalness of humanity. And it has four rows. Is it 4 rows of 3? I think it's 4 rows of 3. It might be 3 rows of 4. Anyways, it's 12 different colored stones, because the 12 tribes, which come from the 12 sons of Jacob, each one of those tribes is, maintaining their tribal ancestry, and are all represented. And in fact, later on, when we continue hearing about the Mishkan, it's told how the tribes are supposed to arrange themselves on the outside so that everybody is kind of equal distance from the Mishkan, from this sanctuary. And Aaron has that on his chest. He has the representation of the full community on his chest. And it says that if he's not wearing this, he can't do his service. So each time he goes to do his service, to serve, he's reminded that I'm bringing the whole community with me. I'm serving the whole community. It's such a lovely orientation. Like, what we do is not just for ourselves, but it's in service of others. And I think especially as we who live in Western society and cultures, we've been given a lot of other messages. The individual, especially here in the United States, the individual and individual accomplishments. And as we're looking at how do we bring ourselves back to a greater sense of the collective community, and any, the anti-racism work and responding to white supremacy and a lot of the not only injustice, but the breaking down of what we all felt was our democracy, looking at how do we do this as a community? How are we there for a community? How are we part of the community? If one piece of the community is struggling, that's my struggle too. So I really see that in the work that is being elevated right now in this time that we're in. Um, it there's so much more I could say, but maybe I'll say a little bit more. But the colors of the stones and the garments that Aaron wears have an analogy to the colors and the garments that are the sanctuary. So he is a person wearing linens and colors and bells in the same way that the sanctuary has very similar, um, the same kind of linens and the same kind of colors. So that embodiment of we as human beings, again, as we looked at last week, are a mishkan. We are a sanctuary. And Aaron, the high priest, dressed like a little mini mishkan in some ways. Um, so where does humility come into this? Well, it comes in for me as, Aaron, who is standing in front of the people as the great intercessor for their prayers with the divine, with the fullness of the divine. In our time, I think you could imagine how easily that could lead to inflated ego. I'm the head honcho, I'm big, look at me, this is what I get to do, you don't get to do it. All of that, which is the antithesis of what we think of as humility. And the reminders that he has to wear to remind himself to be humble. And he wears one more thing on his forehead. He wore some kind of medallion, and it said "Holy to Yud He Vav He" on it. So it wasn't for him to look at and like looking in a mirror. Yeah, yeah, I'm holy. It was for him to be the reminder to those who were not in leadership. You are holy to Yud He Vav He. And it is facing outwards so that you can remember that when you forget and you're looking at me, it's not about me. It's about you being holy to Yud He Vav He. And so there's continual internal reminders for Aaron. There's external reminders for Aaron and the children of Israel and the Israelites. And wanting to cultivate that and what the Jewish soul work, Jewish ethical tradition that we've had for a couple hundred years of Musar, which means ethics, looks at these qualities and says, how do we cultivate them? And it's had a great resurgence in the past 20 years or so. It's returning into liberal Judaism and looking at, well, what does it mean to have the quality of humility? It does not mean to be a doormat. It does not mean, oh, I'm nothing, it means to take up your rightful place, not too much and not too little, and to try and find that middle point. And I know personally that this is the term we use in Musar is midah, the measure. So how much measure of this do you have? Do you have too much? Do you have too little? That this midah of humility, or anavah as it's called in Hebrew, is actually one that's challenging for me. I can easily go on either side of the spectrum. I can go to, oh, I don't know enough. I can't do that. That's not mine. Somebody else can say something about that. Or I can easily go to, hey, I know what I'm doing. Let me tell everybody about what I'm doing. But to find that middle place, kind of like to find my place in the breastplate where I am one of many and I'm taking just my rightful amount of space, not too much and not too little. That is how the Musar tradition in Judaism looks at humility. We don't want to be a doormat. We don't want to be oppressing other people and saying there's no room for you and your voice here. So that's hopefully what our meditation is going to embody today, is that sense of the rightness of our space, the rightness, the right amount of humility. And maybe this is not as much of a challenge for you as it is for me. And if you find somewhere else to go in the meditation, I bless you. That's wonderful. So that we will move into that part of our time together. And I'm going to do a chant about receiving the light of the divine so that we can see it in ourselves, and that we have both this emptiness and this fullness. We have both, that there are times that we are the person to take the leadership, to take charge, because it's right for us to do that. And there are times for us to step back and let others take leadership and take charge, and to allow their agency to be primary, and for us to listen and witness. And lovely chant by Batya Levine is called May I Be Empty. And I'll sing that a few times. Then I'll move into meditation with our candle flame. And I'm just setting the stage for you so you know, in case you want to stay anywhere. Then I'll move to the breath and around the body in the orientation of humility. And then I'll move to holding a question to be insightful. And again, wherever you are called, whatever experience you have in this meditation, with humility, honor it, enjoy it, and we'll all meet back and be able to share our experiences and questions in about 20 or so minutes, I guess, if I'm counting right. 20 some minutes of meditation plus a little bit of chanting in there. So get yourself grounded in your chair. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. So breathing in and breathing out, and feeling yourself rooted in your chair. And if you would like to open your eyes or close your eyes, listen to whatever it is that you need in this moment. And so our candle is lit. It is Not going to stay lit forever, but it symbolizes for us that Ner Tamid, that everlasting constancy, that flow of the sacred and the divine, the love that is there for us and in us, inviting us to return to that knowing. And also reminding us of the need to kindle it again and again and again. Noticing the flame, noticing both its constancy and how it moves. And feeling fine, closing your eyes and noticing the flame that's still there in your mind's eye, or opening and closing as you feel moved. Taking some time to notice the different parts of the flame, the tip, edge of the tip, the more intense part of the flame, the brightness, the arc below that, if you can see it, that's more transparent, the clear base of the flame, and feeling that flame inside of you, imagining it. We don't need to understand it to know that it's there. We don't have to understand the chemical process. We don't have to understand how and why we are who we are. We can acknowledge and be who we are. And if you're wanting to stay here looking at the candle flame, please feel free to continue to do that. I'm going to actually move it a little closer. And if you'd like to join me in another piece, you may want to close your eyes or feel comfortable opening and closing, returning to that flame as a reminder of beingness, the beingness of you, the beingness of your existence. And letting go of the stories and simply being like the candle, like the flame. And I invite you to set some intention for the next bit of our time together. Like Aaron, preparing yourself to be more deeply in service and connection with the divine, setting an intention for something, a prayer in your heart that has already been answered. I open to, I explore, I discover, I feel, I release, I experience, something like that. Whatever is arising, and maybe there's no words. So we notice the breath in the body. Notice your breath. How does your body change to receive the breath? And how does it change as you release your breath? Simply noticing what happens as we inhale, what happens as you exhale. And with an orientation to humility, to Anavah, as you take your next few breaths, we breathe in and notice the side to side, putting attention towards the side to side movement of the lungs and the body, expanding and contracting. Again, what is the side to side movement that is your breath? Noticing how we can expand and we can contract. We can take up more space and we can take up less space. And putting that same intention to the next few breaths of what happens as you breathe forward and back. Most of that movement is forward because of our ribs in the back. So as we breathe, but you may notice breath coming into the front of the body and the lungs expanding, and breath in the back of the body. So as you breathe in and out, expanding and contracting. The fluidity of our beingness is designed for expansion and contraction. Now we'll notice the upward and downward motion as we breathe. So as you breathe, notice getting a little taller. And as you exhale, contracting a bit in height. Breathing in your own natural breath rhythm. Just noticing the expansion and the contraction. And you may be able to put all three of those together in your next few breaths as you notice. Inhaling the fullness of your expansion and exhaling the contraction in many ways. The wisdom of the body that is labile and fluid. It knows how to receive the breath. It knows how to release the breath. And so the breath is our teacher on how to have our right amount of space as we move through and navigate our world and are in relationship with others and the world and ourselves. And so I invite you to notice the breath in different parts of your body. I'm going to do a little guiding And if you feel in a freer way to just notice what's arising in your body, feel free to let go of where I'm guiding you to put your attention. Let's actually start with where we are in the center of the body, into the lungs and the heart space, the breath in that area. Simply noticing what's there for you. What's the felt sense that you have? It may be an emotion, an image, a word, or something that is not yet ripe enough, just being there. And moving our attention to the shoulders, collarbone, upper back. Breathing into that area. Being open to what you notice. Feeling free to move if you're noticing. Remind you that you're holding something there. And continuing up the body, noticing the neck, back of the head. Simply being with what is your experience. Inviting the breath as a focusing tool. And coming down the eyes, the front of the face, the jaw, tongue, lips, back of the throat, the skin of the face, the smile muscles. What are you noticing? And inviting the breath as both focuser and healer. If there's any tightness anywhere, inviting the breath to help you release. Now we send the breath down our arms to our hands. We take in the fingers and the hands, wrists, elbows, forearms, upper arms. Breathing into them. And what are you noticing? Is there anywhere the breath may be invited to help you release, reconnect? On the next inhale, coming back to the trunk, center of our being, physical form, the belly, the internal organs, the middle and the low back. Breathing in, noticing. Noticing if there's anywhere the breath doesn't seem to touch. Noticing where it moves easily. Breathing into any tightness, constriction, concern. And moving the breath into the pelvic area, the hips, the loins. How does the breath settle there? What are you noticing? Is there anywhere that the breath may invite letting go and releasing anything that doesn't feel like it's right? In the last portion of this part of the meditation, we breathe, focusing in the legs, the knees, shins, ankles, feet, toes, the upper part of the foot and the bottom of the foot, sending the attention and the breath to this area. And as our final breath part of the meditation, breathing in deeply, receiving whatever it is that you need for you to be in right space with yourself in this moment. And as you exhale, releasing whatever it is that you need to let go of. Taking a few breaths here in and out with an intention of being in your right space, not too big, not too small. What is right for you in this moment? And for the last few minutes of our meditation, asking yourself the question, what is my rightful space in my most important relationships? Am I taking up the right amount of space? Am I taking up too little space? Am I taking up too much space? Asking the question, knowing the answer may or may not come, but holding it, inviting in your wisdom. And if you like, You can open your eyes and return to the flame for the last minute or so. Or you can stay with the flame inside you or in your mind's eye. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in the energy of the Near Tide, the everlasting flame, the everlasting light that is in you, constantly growing, constantly available to healing and transformation, and the portion of the Near Tamid which has to be renewed, recommitted to, rekindled. The recognition that both are part of being human. Breathing in that energy, breathing out, breathing in whatever sustains you and grounds you, and makes you more present, and releasing and breathing out and letting go of that which doesn't serve you or others. The recognition that we are all connected, and if we take up our rightful amount of space, not too much and not too little, that affects those that we are in relationship with, and those that we don't even know that we're in relationship with, so that they can be their best and appropriate and right self. And for those that are leaving us on the recording or on the live stream, I honor the divine in me, honors and sees and witnesses the divine in you. We are all made in the image of Yah, of the divine ground of beingness. And I say, B'Tselem Yah.